Going on, grinders. It's Chief. We're in the building. It's TWT. It's a TWT weekend. That's TJ, Will, and Taylor. Same as yesterday. We're ready. We are live. It's NBA. It's weekend NBA, which in my opinion is a little bit different than weekday NBA. But who cares? We're here to break it down anyway. Taylor, welcome. He's coming in fresh. Not only does he have the fresh headphones, the fresh sweater with the t-shirt, definitely showing us a little bit of his little further out west swag than us Southerners here, where we're still in common t-shirts and company issued hoodies. Taylor, what's going on, brother?
Yeah, I mean, I would wear the new stuff. You know, I had some of the new swag, but they've not really sent me mine yet. So got to do what you got to do, man.
I got my new stuff quick, but it's the first time I ever got RG clothing. So
listen, I've got swag. I think that it's probably 10 years old now, just from some of the early days. This is why the RG party is so important, Taylor. If you guys can make it, we typically load up on swag for the year. And that's how we get so much stuff. But we didn't have that for the Super Bowl this year, at least not yet. Hopefully we have it later on. TJ, what's going on this beautiful Sunday?
Oh, not much, my friend. We got the Oscars tonight, so gonna be busy with that later in the evening. Got some NBA, tilting some NASCAR because I got some teams that are looking amazing, except for the one dude who crashed in lap 5. But that's all right. Can't win every night. I tried NASCAR for the first time last night and won a few $1,000s. So we're happy. Who's going to complain?
Yeah, absolutely, man. And myself and TJ hanging out in the NASCAR streets, obviously, playing a little bit. One said, Mr. Cindric, it was in my main team in terms of my single entry. I checked earlier as me and TJ were talking. I said, wait a minute, I'm actually still cashing. I'm actually not expecting to cash in single entry. Maybe I can pull something out of some tournaments. If I cash in single entry with a guy that crashed at the onset of the race, Stevie, you are a genius in the motorsports game. You're already a genius. But if we can pull this thing out, TJ, that's going to speak to his acumen in the NASCAR streets. We got so much going on. Golf, tennis, basketball, MLB's coming up in a couple weeks. Folks, you know what you need to do? You need to be trying that combo 3-day pass. Ever wanted to take RG Premium for a test run? Now you can with a 3-day trial pass. Get access to every sport except NASCAR at the low price of $19.99. There's never been a better time to join the RG community. So find that 3-day trial link in the description below and sign up today. Taylor, we're going to kick this thing off. We're going to start with cash, obviously. We can start at FanDuel or DraftKings, wherever you want to start, because obviously this is our own branded show now. We're not sponsored by FanDuel. So whatever site you want to start on is fine. Let's talk cash, and let's just give us kind of your overview. Yesterday, we had an interesting discussion about there were several ways to go in cash. Today, it might not feel that way because we still have some injury stuff hanging out there. How are you feeling about cash games?
Yeah, I think it's fairly straightforward. You know, there are a couple guys like Miami and Cleveland are teams that have a lot of value, especially high-end value for Miami. So you're going to be drawing from them quite a bit. A little bit of Atlanta, maybe more so on FanDuel. Still without Trae Young and Jalen Johnson, of course. And Orlando, we have a little bit of value too with Jalen Suggs and Markelle Fultz out. So yeah, looks like Cole Anthony might be factoring into plans in cash, and probably in tournaments too.
Yeah, for sure. I'm glad you brought that up because that was an interesting one, having Fultz and Suggs out, but they're going to start Gary Harris, which I was like, come on, guys, why are we doing this? Just give Cole Anthony 30 minutes and make us all happy. He can still get there. Mm-hmm. I get it. That's a brief overview from Taylor. TJ, brief overview on tournaments, just in general. How do you think you may want to approach the slate?
A whole lot of Miami. We're going to sprinkle in some Kings and some Cavs. Sprinkle in a little bit of Memphis Grizzlies. But and a little bit of New Orleans Pelicans, but it's a whole lot of Miami Heat today in tournaments.
Absolutely. And folks, I don't know about you. I love the mass multi-entry. If you're going to be doing that, Sim Labs is a place where you can start. Sim Labs is the expert DFS lineup generation tool from Roto-Grinders and Fantasy Labs. And now you can use it with NBA. With a few clicks, you can have hundreds of well-built correlated lineups for whatever type of contest you're playing. Running out of time before lock? No problem, folks. Quickly build a set of lineups to fill out your entries. Want to see who might be falling under the radar? Use the tool to examine players the field might be sleeping on. Note, if you are a combo or NBA subscriber, you already have access to NBA Sim Labs and props and pick'em package. So you already have access to both of those. Take that props and pick'em package. Use that as well. They've got the RG projections built into the model, right? You can take our premium stats, comb through the market for any inefficiencies. You can use that model. You can easily see which lines are off, where to find them, and how likely a prop will hit based on our tool. You can also now try out props and pick them as well as the 3-day pass. Note this will auto-renew at the monthly rate. Once the 3 days are up, use the link in the description below. All right, Taylor, you want to start with DraftKings or FanDuel? Let's break this thing down position by position, and I'm sure we'll finish with about 10 minutes left after we finish everything to get these questions in. We are over into your most capable hands.
Sounds good. I think we'll do FanDuel to start, just kind of keeping it the way it's always been, at least since I've been around. So we're getting a Wizards starting lineup. Rashawn Holmes is out. They're starting Corey Kispert, it looks like, instead, going small with Kuz at center. Not sure that moves the needle a ton. I guess Kispert might be more playable in DK, but we will get there. For now, on FanDuel point guard, Terry Rozier is the guy that's getting into most lineups, point guard only. He's actually cheaper on FanDuel than he is on DK, so that's how you know he's a better value on FanDuel, of course, with the higher cap. Usage to go around there with Tyler Hero still out. They're also playing the Wizards, so top matchup on the board for the Heat tonight. Going to be a lot of them featured in lineups, I would imagine. Kyle Lowry, another FanDuel play, looks okay for 5-2 just because Philly is without Maxey, they're without Embiid. And Anthony Melton again. He's been playing kind of low to mid 30s minutes. Recently, not the best game environment there against the Knicks. Philly does have a really low total, and they've been really awful, as you would expect lately. But Lowry's cheap enough to be a decent value. Not the most comfortable play, but it's fine. We talked about Cole Anthony already. He's 5'5" over here, so he's not cheap, but cheap enough. We do think he should still see mid 20s minutes at least off the bench. As always, very high usage player there for them. And the minutes should be a little more stable with a little more potential for upside against Indiana. Pace up spot for the Magic. I don't mind Darius Garland and Fred VanVleet kind of in the 8K range. Garland, of course, looks good. The Cavs are also shorthanded with Mitchell still out, Strus and Evan Mobley, and Dean Wade. So Garland's fine, but I think you're kind of drawing from the Rozier, Lowry, Anthony group as the main core for cash. Sliding to shooting guard, Sam Merrill I have tagged as a core play. I don't think we've gotten a lineup. We're expecting him to start for the Cavs with Dean Wade out. Not a certainty, but they're kind of thin, and he's kind of the next man up. Assuming he does start, he's a smash value at 4K on FanDuel. He should be okay. He's kind of scoring dependent, but it is what it is. There's not like a ton of awesome value on this slate, so he will do just fine. Isaac Okoro, another Cav, just kind of has to play minutes. Not a good per minute guy, but it should do for this slate. Even Shenzo is always playing around 40 minutes for the Knicks these days. Philly's defense has also been really bad without Embiid, as you would expect. So I don't mind him as a shooting guard, small forward eligible play. Jalen Green, Bogdan Bogdanovic, a couple of mid-rangers that look good. Green's been playing well lately. Wide range of outcomes with him, as always, but the pace of that game should be good for the Rockets, at least, against Sacramento. Moving to small forward, don't mind Jimmy Butler here. 8,800 on FanDuel, so he's cheaper on DK, but still a great value. No Hero, best matchup on the slate for Miami, like we said. Very easy cash play on both sites. Avdia has been playing a lot of minutes. He's up to 6'9" on FanDuel, but stuffing the stat sheet, even without a ton of usage for the Wizards. Not a good matchup for them on the other side of that game, but I'm okay with it just because the role is pretty safe for him these days. Josh Hart's kind of the same thing as DiVincenzo, just basically a minutes play for the Knicks with so many injuries. He's been playing 40 plus every single night, so it's hard to feel too bad about that. Don't mind Caleb Martin as a value, another Miami piece. He's been starting with Hero out. We would expect that to be the case again tonight. A couple of power forwards that look decent. You can play Butler and Optia here. Jared Allen certainly makes sense. He's up to 9K, which is steep for Jared Allen, but he's had a pretty high floor and a decent ceiling without Mobley all season long. Bruno Fernando, again, he's 4-3, power forward center eligible. Not the best value, not the most comfortable play, but the minutes behind Capella should be decent enough for him to get there, even against the Pelicans. And the power forward eligibility is the main thing. He's just cheap and kind of a filler piece for cash. And then at center, it's really two guys. Bam Adebayo, the core play for 8,300. He hasn't been great lately, but this is the best bounce back spot you can ask for against the Wizards, the worst rebounding team in the NBA. And the other one is Şengün. I think he's probably more geared for tournaments, but Şengün's been, kind of back in form lately after a bit of a slump, and the spot against Sacramento is pretty favorable. So one of those two guys for cash with a lean toward Bam, I think.
All right. Thank you so much, TJ. You've gone through that. We've got some questions here, and I will give it because it's really only one. I guess the guys asked about Niang. That's David. David Correa. Let's go with Correa. If I'm wrong, David, then just put the dictionary pronunciation in the chat. But we're going to go with David Correa. He's asking about Niang. How do you feel about him for cash?
Niang is 5-1. He's okay. The minute should be there. He's been starting the last couple games. I think he's fine for cash.
Okay. All right, TJ. Let's get spicy. We got to start. Listen, we got to start getting our own personal graphics for the weekend. I've said that we got to get the TWT graphics for the weekend, and then we got to get the spicy. We got to get some poblano peppers or something going here for when we start dropping the spicy tournaments. TJ, take it away. What are we doing in tournaments?
Let's do it. So there's a few big chalk pieces that I'm looking to get off of, and then a few that I'm looking to kind of double up on. And so at the point guard position, I think Terry Rozier is good chalk here. He would be the guy that I would definitely want to make sure I'm playing, but there are some strong pivots here too. Darius Garland, great play today. Jalen Green, perfectly fine. Fred VanVleet, probably my favorite of that whole group. 7,800, highest total on the slate, coming in at 12% projected ownership. I really like VanVleet today. If you're playing a ton of Miami, I think you can run it back even with some Jordan Poole as well. And then no one's getting to SGA tonight, and he's got the highest ceiling on the slate. Shooting guard position, I'm totally fine with getting to Merrill. The next guy is like immediately behind him in terms of ownership, though. I'm probably looking to get off of and look at getting to some of the same guys that I said at the point guard position. So Jalen Green, Jordan Poole, Karis LeVert, I really like here at the shooting guard position on FanDuel. And then he keeps getting more and more expensive, but I still think he's in play. Malik Monk and then Jalen Williams here as well at 7,700, I think are both interesting tournament plays. Small forward, totally fine with Jimmy, even though he's chalky. Caleb Martin is a strong value play today. Corey Kispert, now that he's in the starting lineup, even though the matchup's tough, I think is viable. Paolo Banchero is one of my favorite tournament plays on the slate. And then if you need to save some money with a Miami player that's a little bit more under the radar, you can go Jaime Jaquez here as well. Don't mind him. Don't mind Franz Wagner for Orlando. It's a great matchup for them against Indiana. Power forward position, Jimmy, again, my favorite guy here. I would want to be underweight on 30+% Bruno Fernando. I'd rather get to Martin here. I really like Zion in tournaments. Sabonis, probably more of a DraftKings play for me, a little bit too expensive here, but I do like the power forward eligibility. So if you want to get to him here, there's no problem at all. Mentioned Banchero and Wagner. JJJ always has an incredibly high ceiling. And then if you want an under the radar tournament salary saver, I think Trey Lyles is actually kind of viable. And then finally, center position. Bam is, I think, good chalk. Şengün is the best tournament pivot. JJJ, Sabonis, Chet, all perfectly reasonable options here as well. If you want to go way off the board, I think Wendell Carter Jr. would probably be my favorite option. And then what's his price on FanDuel? There's one guy I didn't mention here. Jake Larivia, 5,700. I think he's a very good low-owned tournament play today.
All right, and that's going to wrap up FanDuel tournaments. Did have a question here coming in. 2 questions, one for Flying Armbar. I'm going to assume FanDuel, since that's what we're talking about right now. He's asking about Lance Stevenson, I guess, or Stevens or LaRavia. I'm assuming you're going LaRavia, since that's who you discussed. But Lamar Stevens, Scott, I said Lance.
Yeah.
Lamar. I'm thinking about Lance Stevenson from the Pacers and Hornets, Lakers, you name it. But he's throwback. But are you going Lamar Stevens or LaRavia? We're going to assume it's FanDuel.
What's the difference in price for these guys on FanDuel? Straight up for points, I like LaRavia better. I know on DraftKings odds though Stevens is cheaper, so I don't mind either of them, but it's still probably LaRavia for me.
All right, and then how do you feel about De'Aaron Fox in FanDuel tournaments?
Perfectly fine with it.
All right, Taylor, we're going to kick this thing over to DraftKings. Let's kind of walk through that, and then we'll be right on time for questions. Taylor, DraftKings, over to you.
Let's do it. Surprisingly, it's a lot of the same guys that you're going to play on FanDuel.
I assumed. Yeah.
Cole Anthony, 4-7 over here. So sub 5K looks pretty good. Indiana, obviously a great matchup. We think the usage will be there as it usually is. So happy to get to him with a minutes bump tonight. Jordan Poole, didn't mention him on FanDuel. He's 6'5 on DK. Obviously, the Wizards on the wrong side of that game against Miami, a slow-paced, defensive-minded team. But Poole's usage has been up off the bench. He's playing quite well. That's not a lock to continue forever. It's Jordan Poole. He's been pretty awful for most of the season, but I still think he's okay for cash tonight as a point guard, shooting guard option on DK. Rozier, I mentioned on FanDuel, looks awesome on DK as well for 7K. Fred Porter is a value popping into some lineups just because the Cavs are so thin.
Yeah.
Let's see what he is. I assume he's quite cheap. Let's see. He is 3-2. So, yeah, I think that's okay. But obviously there are a lot of ways that can go wrong. We're not guaranteed. It's not a guarantee that he's going to play a ton. They still have, Darius Garland in there. So some overlap, but I think that's fine. Dennis Schroeder playing a lot of minutes lately. Don't think that's a bad play for cash. Amen Thompson he's come down to, I think, 4-8 on DK. Minutes are volatile, but he has played his way into a bigger role lately. If he's playing well, they could give him a little longer leash. Let's see. Sam Merrill, shooting guard only, like I said, expected. I think we have him projected to start. So he is an auto cash play at this point. Poole, Anthony, Malik Monk. TJ mentioned him. He's been playing a lot more lately. He's played 30-plus minutes in the last 4 games. So they kind of trust Fox, Sabonis, and Monk to do most everything offensively. So happy to look his way. Cam Whitmore, kind of the small forward shooting guard version of Amen Thompson, just a guy that does stuff off the bench. He's well over a fantasy point per minute. Not a guarantee to see a ton of minutes, but 20 to 25 at his salaries, I think is okay. Bogdanovic, like I said, more usage for Atlanta with Young and Johnson out. Small forwards, Avdia and Butler. Butler being the headliner. He's going to be a cash staple for sure. You're just playing him and Bam on DK Cash, no doubt. They're both cheap. They're both playing the Wizards, obviously. Avdia, like I said, that stuff are playing pretty well lately. George Niang, we mentioned a little bit on FanDuel. He's only 4-4 on DK, been starting. He's gotten more expensive, but he's still not expensive overall, so I think he's fine for cash. Along with Isaac Okoro, similar argument for him, just because the Cavs have no wings left. Anyone else? Kispert, maybe a fringe play. Lou Dort's cheap, but Lou Dort obviously has a very low floor and a limited ceiling. Caleb Martin's power forward only. He's another Heat guy we're playing. You can play like 4 or 5, probably 4. Rozier, Bam, Butler, and Caleb Martin in DK Cash, just because the minutes are there and they're playing the Wizards. Banchero, don't mind. Obviously a good spot for them against Indiana. You mentioned Lamar Stevens as an option. Memphis still has some news out. Vince Williams is one of the questionable guys. So Lamar Stevens looks good either way. Potentially he gets a bit of a minutes boost too, depending on what happens there. And at center, like I said, Bam is a lock for cash. Jared Allen looks fine too. 8-4 on DK is not bad. Clint Capella, the minutes were up a little bit in the last game. Kongwu still out and all that. Şengün looks good over 9K. Jaren Jackson probably not for cash just because Memphis has a very low total and they're huge underdogs against OKC. And I think Chet Holmgren's okay. His price never seems to budge, and they're on the other side of that Memphis game. Don't mind that. All the centers in the mid-range, honestly, are viable in cash, I think.
All right. There you have it. Taylor's covered DraftKings cash. TJ, over to you for tournaments. Please give us your overview.
So tournaments today, getting to at the point guard position, a lot of the same guys like Taylor mentioned. I'm getting to about 40% Rozier, 20% Jordan Poole. Craig Porter Jr., I think, is a very interesting tournament option today. Not only is he cheap, he's projecting pretty well. But in addition to that, if Sam Merrill fails, there's a good chance it could be because Porter's doing well. Vic Krejci is still starting. He's probably only going to play like 20 minutes. He's not a strong point per minute guy, but value's lacking on the slate. He's only 3,400, so I'll take a couple shots there. Fox, Garland, Anthony, SGA at low ownership, Brunson at low ownership. These are mainly the guys that I'm targeting today. Down here, the DeJounte Murray, that's just in a little mini stack with a Brandon Ingram. Shooting guard position, a lot of Merrill, a lot of Rozier, Poole and Monk, who I've previously mentioned, and then these Miami guys are the next top targets. Jaquez, Duncan Robinson, a little bit of Houston with Whitmore, and a little bit of Cleveland with Karis LeVert. Small forward position, Jimmy Butler is going to be my main guy. Oh, shoot, did I end up with no Dort? That was an accident. I wanted him in one team. Butler in 45%, Monk 30, Larivia 30, Niang 30, Jaquez, Wagner, Robinson, Kispert. This is my most spread out position of the entire group. I'll just adjust. I'll probably turn one of those Kispert teams into a Dort team just to make sure I get just one of him just in case. Power forward, Caleb Martin, my top option. Niang, Banchero, absolutely love him in tournaments. Stevenson at 20%. So I got 30% Larivia, 20% Stevenson. Only going to play one of them. I got 20% Omarui because he's minimum price and he's probably going to have to play a few minutes today. Chances are he only gets me like 15 points, but if he happens to get me 20, 22, could really be popping today. I feel similarly about Trey Lyles and Nikola Jovic. Center position, Bam's the top guy, Şengün number 2, some cheapy punts, and then Sabonis and Holmgren as my other top options there.
All right, there you have it, folks. We have gone through cash. We've gone through tournaments. That's both sides. I am going to start taking questions. I will be in the live stream chat first. Then I will come over to YouTube, and I have been tracking YouTube. First one, this is coming right out of the live stream chat. In fact, it is our only one currently from NBA DFS. This is for you, Taylor. DK Cash, Whitmore, and Franz Wagner, or Poole and Okoro. That's DraftKings Cash.
I think I like the Whitmore or Wagner one more.
Okay, all right. We're coming back over to YouTube. This is coming from Flying Armbar. I'm not sure if he means. I'm going to assume he's looking at tournaments here. Give it to you, TJ. Is Najee Marshall viable on FanDuel?
Not somebody that I'd be getting to, no.
Okay, this is from Butto Jake. Oh, excuse me. This is from Derek. DraftKings GPP for you, TJ. Okoro, Kispert, or Niang. One of those three.
Okoro, Kispert, or Niang. I would probably go Niang.
Okay, from Butto Jenkins. Jarrett Allen revenge narrative? Question mark?
Jarrett Allen and Karis LeVert, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Both of them.
Fire them all up.
Both of them. All right. This is from William, 1967. What about Gary Harris on FanDuel? Let's give that to you, Taylor. Because he
Never
is
loved
starting.
Gary Harris.
I hate Gary Harris.
He's 4K, so I think if you must, it's okay, but do not expect to be amazed.
All right, this is from Andrew Martinez. I guess I'll give this one to you, TJ. If Vince Williams is out and Kennard is in, is he in play on DK?
Yeah, I think you can get to him. There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay, DK GPP, going to stick with you, TJ. Niang versus Dylan Brooks. Already has Fox and Van Vliet.
Niang.
Okay. This is for you. I'm going to give this to you, Taylor. Is Precious viable on FanDuel? Precious Achua, obviously.
Let me see what he is over there.
I know he just had a big game. God, man,
He's
precious.
7-2. That's pretty
Jeez.
steep. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't love it.
Okay, does not love it. J3 says, shout out TJ. QQ, DK Cash, Taylor, Martin or Kispert?
Martin.
Okay, this is coming from OS, and then we're going to hop back to the live stream chat. Banchero and Franz together, is that suboptimal? Good spot against Indiana, I must say. Do we think that's suboptimal? Let's go TJ with that one.
I'm totally fine doing that in tournaments.
Okay, here we go. This is coming. We're back to the live stream chat. This is Montero 97. How many Miami players can you play on FanDuel in single entry? Let's give you that one, Taylor.
Well, you can play Rozier, Butler, and Bam, no doubt. Caleb Martin and Duncan Robinson, kind of less exciting fringe options, but Rozier, Butler, and Bam, certainly the core plays.
Okay, so there you go. So at least 3, maybe 4. 3 is the strongest option, though. I think that's what we're saying.
Yeah.
3 is the strongest option with the main guys. All right, back to the YouTube chat. DKGPP, TJ, Malik Monk, or Jordan Poole?
Monk.
All right. Looks like we've got Montero 97 typing again in the live stream chat. I'll come back to you, Montero. DKGPP, Kuzma, Allen, or Butler?
Butler.
Okay. I'm going to give this one to you, Taylor, because you already had a kind of a discussion about this. DKGPP's Jared Allen, is he a good pivot from Bam? Because I know you talked about Bam being kind of the top guy. How do you feel about him versus Allen today? Been kind of popping off here with no Mobley.
Yeah, I think Allen's a great play. I don't think he'll be under the radar necessarily, but he looks terrific to me.
Okay. All right. This is from Darren Unger, DKGPP, Pablo, and then let me see. Oh, Pablo Whitmore / Alan Martin, TJ. Pablo Whitmore or Alan Martin?
I like Allen a lot more. Sorry, I like Pablo more, but the differential to me between Martin and Whitmore is enough to side with the Allen side.
So Alan Martin's got okay, gotcha. Here we go. This is back to the live stream chat. This is from Asad, good friend of the show. FanDuel Cast 3v3. Taylor, Garland, Niang, and Allen, or Rozier, Denny, and Bam. So I'll say it again. Garland, Niang, Allen. Second one. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Yep. Gotcha. OS says thoughts on Santi. Let's get up to TJ. Santi Aldama from Memphis. Any thoughts on him?
Nope, none at all.
Okay. There we go. And we have run out of questions. We will probably get more questions, but we've managed the questions well today. We don't have any at the moment that I need to cover, and I did go back up to make sure we didn't miss any at the end. We did cover some during the show. So, fellas, we are all caught up. Taylor, anything else you want to add? I mean, obviously we're going to keep the phone lines open, and as soon as I say that, of course, we get one. Jaquez versus Laravia, DKGPP's TJ.
Laravia.
All right, this is from Andrew Martinez. Jalen Green or FBV on DK? I'm assuming that they're thinking GPPs. I know you like Fred VanVleet a ton, TJ. How are you feeling about him versus Jalen Green?
If you have the salary to get all the way up to VanVleet, yeah, go with him, but I don't mind the salary saving to Green.
Okay, coming back to you, Taylor. This is DK Cash. Is 4 Cavs too much without Garland?
4 Cavs. Allen, LeVert, Garland, or no, I guess probably not Garland.
Yeah, I'm assuming he's going to cheapies. Probably
Allen, LeVert,
Merrill,
Okoro,
or Porter. Either way, I think 4, there are enough good plays. So yeah, I think 4 is fine.
Okay, all right. Going to stay with you, Taylor, on this one. Best play under 4,300 on DraftKings. We got 3 minutes left, guys. If you want to get any questions,
4,300 or less.
Yep.
Well, it's Merrill, but I assume you have him. Dort, you said?
Yeah, would be the next guy.
Yeah, lowest 4 out of that bunch. Good God. Jesus. Yeah, you might want to do a little bit of reconstructing. Here we go. Going to go lightning round here since we're under 3 minutes. This is from Bible Blitz. Any Caleb Houston punts in DKGPPs, TJ?
Nope.
All right. FanDuel GPP. Keeping it with TJ. Fox, Caleb Houston, or Rozier Santi? I think I know where you're going here.
Yeah, I don't like either of them, but I guess Rozier and Santi.
Yeah, here we go. Going back to the live stream chat, we have another one from this is from Beaner1290. Thoughts on Valanciunas for FanDuel GPP, TJ?
One more time. Sorry, I missed that one.
Yeah, thoughts on Valanciunas for FanDuel GPP?
Nope.
Okay, this is Cash going to Taylor. FanDuel Cash, Jalen Green or DiVincenzo straight up?
I think DiVincenzo just for the minutes.
Yeah,
but I do think.
Yeah, you just can't lose with minutes sometimes, even if the outcome doesn't materialize that same day. This is Shane still in cash games on FanDuel. Taylor Okoro for cash.
Yeah, he's okay. He's not fun, but he's definitely viable.
Gotcha. All right, guys, we're 2 minutes, almost 2 minutes from lock our time, so you're probably about a minute and a half your time. Please get your questions in if you have any. Taylor, you want to add anything extra before we close this thing out shortly?
Just that Memphis still has 2 questionable tags, so they could wind up being super shorthanded. So you're probably going to have to swap depending on what happens there with Kennard and Vince Williams. But
yeah, and I was hoping we were going to get there, and that's kind of what I was referring to at the top of the hour. I'm like, we still got a little bit hanging out there. But because they're starting at 6 today, we're not getting the news right when we want it. TJ, anything extra you want to add? Because we have run out of questions, so it means we've done our jobs today. Anything else you want to add before we close out?
No, other than we got Joey Logano crashing in NASCAR, so he's going to finish with he's at -4 right now. So currently cashing in DraftKings Cash NASCAR with a combined -1 from 2 of my drivers.
Yeah, I'm probably not making any money at this point, which I didn't think I was. So look, I had already checked out on NASCAR right when Cedric crashed early. And guess what? It's my fault because I told Stevie I'd make money every week of NASCAR. So blame me for the mush, not Dean. Dean will be back tomorrow, and some of our regulars, and we are regulars on Crunch Time and Grinders Live. But we were covered in weekend 2. You've been in the middle of TWT DFS Wrestling Productions. I'm Chief on behalf of Roto Grinders. That's TJ. That's Taylor. We will see you next weekend.